Hey guys, and welcome to the 9th episode of my knitting podcast. My name is Claire and I really like to knit and talk to a camera, so here we are. As per usual, it's been a couple of weeks since my last podcast, so I thought it would be the perfect time to give you an update on what I finished and what I'm working on right now. I actually have quite a few finished objects, both big and small, to show you. So let's jump right in. The first finished object that I have is what I'm wearing. These are the mist sleeves by Garn Slikt, and I knit these using Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the undyed colorway, which in my opinion is the perfect off-white color. I love off-white. You will see, I actually just noticed how many off-white projects I have right now, so you'll see a couple more. I just think it's a perfect color, especially for winter. I just feel like it fits right in. I love the vibe. So this is a really fancy knit. I feel like this gives off a really luxurious and high-end vibe, but it's actually super simple to knit. It's only stockinette and it's really quick as well because you knit this on 7mm needles, 6 to 7 millimeters depending on your yarn. So for my yarn, the recommendation was 7mm, but I didn't really like the fabric. It was a little bit too loose for my taste. It was just very see-through, and what bothered me most was that it was very uneven. So I decided to go down a needle size and knit this on 6mm, which I measured after blocking, and my gauge is quite a bit off. I have a gauge of 19 stitches when I think the pattern calls for 14 stitches. So it's quite a bit smaller, but as you can see, it still has plenty of room in the sleeves. It's still very loose, and I really like this vibe. I think too much bigger would have been too dramatic for me anyway. So yeah, I really like this, and I absolutely love the fabric. It's not as see-through as her sample, but I still think it looks super light and airy because of the mohair. So yeah, I'm really happy with the choice of going down a needle size, and the sleeve length is also perfect. It's just super cozy and pretty. So I absolutely love this, and if you like this too, definitely check it out. Now the second pattern, or rather my second FR, is my Literkowy scarf by Rat and Sea Witch, also known as Sophia Ratazewicz. And it looks like this. I think it'll be a bit difficult to show on camera. I've used it quite a bit as well, so already it keeps rolling, but I'll put a picture here of what it looks like all spread out. This is a scarf pattern that was just released, and I actually got to test it for her, and it was really fun. So I think this is a really nice pattern that keeps you engaged, but it's still really easy, so you don't have to pay too close attention to it, and it's really beginner friendly as well. It is a pattern that you can customize, so you have a chart for every single letter, and then you can choose your own sentence or word or whatever you want to write on your scarf, and then just knit according to the letter charts. So I chose to do Cozy Girl Winter. Again, I hope you can see. And it's just a fun way to keep you going. I think just knitting a stockinette scarf is so boring and I lose track of things quite easily and just lose interest if there's nothing going on. So I think this pattern is really simple, but still keeps you engaged. And I think it's also great for beginners. I decided to do the tassel version, which is super cute. It took forever. I really underestimated how long this would take because these are all individual I-cords, but I think it was totally worth it, and it's super cute. I think I haven't mentioned the yarn that I used. I used the Rico Design Cotton Fashion yarn, which is a cotton and polyamide blend, but it's super soft. It really doesn't feel like cotton at all. It can be knit up on 4mm, but still has quite a long length. It's 200 meters per 50 grams, I want to say. And I don't know, the construction is really interesting. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's really light and airy, but still very fluffy. Yeah, I can try it on for you. It has a perfect length to kind of wear it like this. It's a scarf. I don't know how to show off a scarf properly. But yeah, it's super cute. Check out the pattern. I'm so happy. This was my first test knit ever. I think it went really well. I will say that I don't think I'll be doing a whole lot of test knits just because I realized how stressful it is to have to knit on a deadline. Like, we had a really long deadline. I think we had 5 weeks just to finish this scarf. And it was going well. I wasn't like procrastinating or anything, but it was still so stressful because I had to knit on it, and that kind of took the fun out of it. So that has nothing to do with the pattern, just with the fact that it was my first test knit and it was my first experience doing this. But I don't know if I'll be doing that a whole lot because it's a bit stressful. And with, everything else that I have going on in my life already being stressful enough, I just don't want to have too much pressure on my knitting. So yeah, my first test knit, maybe my last for a little while. We'll have to see. The third finished project is something that I've been working on for forever. I checked Ravelry and it took me 4 months to finish this. And it's the Hollingbourne socks. I just blocked these last night, so they're still wet. Also, I know this is an unconventional method of blocking socks, but I don't have sock blockers. But the Colorwork definitely needed a block, so I'm hoping that this is gonna work out. I would love to show you these worn, but they're still a little bit wet, so I don't think I'm gonna do that. But yeah, let's talk about this project real quick. If you've been following my podcast, it's shown up a couple of times, and usually there was a lot of grief about this. I actually had quite a lot of trouble with this pattern because it was my first time knitting colorwork properly. Like, I've done a little bit, but never all over colorwork. And why not make my life harder than it has to be and start by doing colorwork on a sock on 2.5mm needles, So I actually had quite a bit of trouble with my gauge because not only is this colorwork, but it has a very large motif. So you kind of have to hit gauge, otherwise your length won't work out, right? I guess you can just finish in the middle of a pattern repeat, but that looks a little bit odd. So if you want to have a full finished repeat of the pattern, you have to hit gauge, otherwise it won't work with a long repeat like this. So the first time I did the foot, it was way too large. So I actually left the first sock and just started on the second sock. That one went okay. I had a little bit of trouble with the heel because it was my first time doing the short row heel. So I had to redo that as well. And then the first sock, I managed to knit tighter so the foot length was fine. And I had to redo the foot of the first sock to match the second sock. And it was a lot of trouble. It took forever. It really demoralized me. But in the end, we got here. So now these socks, I've tried them on. They fit perfectly. They're a little bit difficult to get over the heel. But once they're on, they fit perfectly. The length is great. And I do like the motif. I do like the motif. I just don't think I'm gonna do this again very soon because it took a lot out of me to knit these. I mean, they're beautiful and I'm glad I did it. It was just not very enjoyable after like the first leg. The rest of it was just getting through it to finish them, not because I was enjoying the process. The yarns that I used are the Regia 4-ply in the Bordeaux colorway, and then the contrast color is Typical Bliss, just on the sock base yarn, I think. And this was Homemade Glitter from her Advent 22 collection. I really like these colors together. The Homemade Glitter one actually has stellina, so it glitters a bit, and they're really cute winter socks. So I'm excited to finally be able to wear them very soon. All right, I have 2 more small finished objects. I wasn't sure if I would even mention them, but I'm just gonna go through them really quick. So I have this scrunchie that I made. I recently went to a yarn festival, check out the video here, and I got this really fancy hand-spun banana fiber yarn that I really wanted to try out because I'd never seen anything like it. However, this was 19 meters, so there wasn't that much that I could do with it. So I decided to make a scrunchie out of it. Now, I did plan on making an entire scrunchie out of that, but realized very quickly that it was not enough. So I decided to use some of the soft silk mohair in the undyed colorway that I left over from my mist sleeves to do the second side. Now, I also didn't plan on this showing on like the front. I kind of wanted to only have the darker color on the front and then this be the back, but it didn't work out this way. It's fine. I actually think it's kind of nice to have this contrast, and I think it's really cute. It has the perfect big scrunchie size, I think. This yarn is beautiful, this banana fiber. I can't really say that much about the yarn itself. I mean, I'm not wearing it properly on skin, so I don't know how it would be there, but I do think it's really beautiful. It's probably because it's hand spun and it has a bunch of different colors. And yeah, it was just a quick little project and I love it. So that's that. And then the very last thing that I did was actually also super spontaneous, and I did this last night, and it's this cute little heart. So this is a free pattern by Qing Fibre. It's just a tiny little heart that I made out of leftovers from the typical Bliss homemade glitter that I just showed you that I used for the socks. And I made this because it's my friend's birthday and I wanted to make a little ornament for her. So that's that. I actually timed myself doing this because I was planning on doing more than one. However, this took me roughly 2 hours. So I only made one in the end because it obviously took longer than expected. I feel like with these tiny things, you're always like, oh, it's gonna take like half an hour, it'll be fine. But they're actually really small and fiddly, and you have to shape a lot, so it ends up taking forever. But it was worth it. I think it's super cute. And then I just did a braided string, basically, so you can use it as an ornament for a tree or to wrap up a present or for whatever you like, really. Speaking of that, I actually also made these tiny baubles this morning. They did not turn out as bobbly as I liked, but again, it was my friend's birthday and I originally wanted to buy her flowers, but then I saw this and was like, it's Christmas soon. I can get her a tiny little Christmas tree. She's also a student. She also lives in a dorm. We don't have a lot of space as students, but a tiny little Christmas tree just seemed like a perfect thing. So I decided to get her this, and then I, again, made tiny little baubles out of tiny little scraps. They're not perfect. They're definitely messy and kind of weird shape, but I hope she's gonna like it anyway. And now she has a little tiny Christmas tree. Well, not yet, but later tonight she will. I actually forgot to mention something when I was talking about the socks. Just for other beginners who want to knit Colorwork socks but don't really know what they're doing like I was doing with these, I thought I would share a few tips, actually 2 tips, that I realized when I was doing these so you don't have as much trouble as I do, hopefully. The first tip would be to knit them 2 at a time, because I had a lot of trouble, as I said, with tension, and I also have uneven tension on both socks. So I think knitting these 2 at a time would be really smart, because here, again, the gauge is just much more important, the row gauge, than it is for stockinette socks. For stockinette socks, you can just knit 3 more rows more or less and no one will notice, but for patterns like this, it's really helpful to have an even tension. So yeah, my tip would be to knit them 2 at a time. And the second tip would be to maybe do a pattern repeat that is shorter, or that maybe doesn't span the whole sock, so that you don't have the trouble that I had having to hit gauge exactly to adjust the length. I hope this makes sense, but if you have a smaller repeat, let's say 5 rows or something, it's much easier to adjust the length of your foot. Or maybe if you only have a pattern on the leg where it's not that important how long it is, or maybe only on the beginning of the foot, and then it goes to just normal stockinette, it will be much easier to actually customize the size. So I think if you're only beginning to knit Colorwork socks, that could make things a lot easier. So that's just if you want to get into sock knitting and don't want to repeat my mistakes. Now, moving on to my whips, I actually don't have that many anymore, which I'm very happy about. I'm trying to get my whip number down because it's been stressing me out quite a bit lately. So I'm down to kind of 3 whips, I would say. So let's get into those. The first one and biggest one I have is the Hanstholm sweater by PetiteKnit. This is a men's pattern. This is a men's pattern by her for just a simple raglan stockinette top-down sweater. And I'm using Drops Lima in the color Brick Red or Red Brick. I still do not know the name. I know I've said it wrong the past 3 podcast episodes, but it's one of those. You'll recognize it. I actually had only swatched in my last episode, I think, and now I'm halfway through the body. It's been a really simple, straightforward pattern. Again, it's just a top-down raglan. I did make 1 or 2 mistakes in the raglan increases and like missed a couple that I had to then do later. So that's not ideal, but I don't think you can tell in the grand scheme of things. And then I just joined in the round and now I'm knitting endless body. I really hate knitting stockinette projects because they're so incredibly boring. These mist sleeves, even though they're on really big needles, were also a pain to get through because I just hate knitting stockinette. It's so dull. So I don't knit on this too much. I actually only knit on it during lectures because I feel like for lectures it's actually perfect. It just keeps my hands busy so I can concentrate more on what they're saying, and I really like it for that. However, this semester I don't have that many lectures. I actually only have 2. So it's a slower process, kind of. I mean, once I do knit, I get through it pretty fast because again, it's only knitting stockinette. It goes by pretty fast, but I don't really spend too much time on it because it's just so boring. Now that I've finished so many of my other projects, I do think this will be my main focus because I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but it is for my brother, and I would like to finish this until Christmas because I'm going to see him then, and it would be nice to be able to give him the sweater in person. So yeah, the goal is to finish this by Christmas, and today is actually the 1st of December, so I have roughly 3.5 weeks to finish this, which is definitely doable if I focus on it and spend a bit more time on it and just get through the stockinette. I don't really have much else to say. Oh yeah, I do have one more thing. So when I was talking about my gauge swatch, I mentioned that I was a little bit above gauge. So my gauge was 20 stitches when it's supposed to be 21. And I said that if I start knitting in the round, it's probably gonna be smaller. And I was absolutely right, because now I'm at 22 stitches instead of the 21 that it's supposed to be. So this is a bit smaller than it's supposed to be. However, that actually kind of matches what my brother wanted. He had a sweater, like a store-bought one that I measured, and it was a bit smaller. However, I'm knitting the size extra small, so I'm already knitting the smallest size. Therefore, the sweater turning out a tad bit smaller than it's supposed to be is perfect, because then it pretty much exactly matches the store-bought sweater that my brother told me to basically remake. So I do hope it will fit him, but I think we should be good. I don't have anything else to say about this. It's very straightforward. It's PetiteKnit. It's what you would expect from a PetiteKnit pattern. I think they're well written. They're pretty straightforward, especially for these simple ones. So yeah, that's it. The second whip is much more exciting in my humble opinion, because it's cabled socks. If you've ever been here before, you probably know that I love knitting cables. So I decided, what better thing to do than knit cables on 2mm needles with fingering weight yarn. And honestly, I'm loving it. I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit insane, but I absolutely adore insane knits like this. These are actually self-drafted, and I'm making a project vlog on them. I don't know where this came from. Actually, I do know where it came from. I saw a picture online. I felt inspired, I charted out a cable pattern that I made up myself. I'm gonna show you. You can't see that much yet because I wanted to finish my other socks first. But this is what it looks like. And I went to the store, I bought this yarn. This is the Regia 4-ply in off-white. And I started knitting them, and I love it. I'm super excited for these. I'm super excited to finally be able to knit more on these now that I'm done with the Hollingbourne socks. And that's all. Stay tuned for the project vlog. I will add a little bit of something extra to make these more exciting. So if you're curious about these, stay tuned for the project vlog that will come hopefully kind of soon. And I'm super excited to knit on these. I just love knitting cables and I love knitting socks, so doing both at the same time is great. I think this was my last white knit. As I said, I'm just knitting so many off-white things right now and I'm loving it. Perfect for winter in my opinion. Now onto my last whip that I actually don't know if it will be a whip for much longer. Let's talk about it. So if you're an OG viewer, you might have seen this very long ago. This is my turtle dove shawl that I started knitting on in February. I cast this on in February, started knitting it, and I would say I knit up to about here, and then I stopped because the weather got warmer. I wasn't interested in knitting a mohair scarf, so I stopped for the summer, and then I never picked it up again. I mean, I knit a tiny bit more, but I just put it away again immediately because it was just not fun. I wasn't enjoying knitting it. I wasn't sure if I still liked the pattern, so I just put it away again, and now it's December and I haven't picked this up again. So I think it's time to make a decision whether I want to keep this or whether I want to frog it. I do like the pattern baseline. I think it's really cute. I just don't think this is my style really. And I have a couple other knits that after finishing them, I realized they weren't my style and I don't wear them a lot, and it makes me really sad because it's sad for the yarn. It's sad about spending so much time on something that I don't like. So I feel like I should make the decision now. Like if I already can tell that this is not my style and I won't wear it a lot, I should just frog it now. It's just that I've already put so much time into this, I kind of don't want to frog it, which I know is stupid. Because just finishing this and putting even more time towards it if I know I won't like it is not smart. I mean, I could finish it and then gift it to someone, but I also really love this yarn. This is Knitting for Olive merino and soft silk mohair in red currant, which is a beautiful color. This was the first time that I ordered Knitting for Olive and it was such a treat, and I really want to use it because I think it's really pretty. It's just a bright red. I just don't know if I want to use it for this. So I actually do have two options of what I would make out of it if I unraveled it, and both are hats. One would be the Oslo hat by PetiteKnit, a classic. I feel like everyone's knit it, everyone knows it. However, I've never knit it actually, so I think that could be an option. Just be a simple hat. I only own one other hat, so having a second one to choose from would be nice, and I think this statement color would be fun. The second thing would be a beret, I don't know, the French hat, because I think it would be super cool in this bright red color, and I just saw Kimderi from Panelyegi, and she has a pattern for a beret, I believe, and hers is also in this bright red color. I'm actually not sure if this yarn combination would work for that, but that looks so cool. And also, I'm going to Paris next year. So if you're a K-pop fan, you know who's coming to France, unless you're living behind a rock. But yeah, Stray Kids are coming to Europe. Woohoo! And I got tickets. Well, actually, I didn't get tickets. I tried 3 times and I didn't get tickets, but a friend got tickets and she has some left over, so I can go. So I will be going to Paris next year to see Stray Kids, and I know it's super touristy. I know no French people ever wear berets in Paris, but I just want to be that tourist that wears a red beret in Paris, you know? So I think this would be super fun for that. Now, I don't know, the thing is why I haven't decided is that I don't know how much wear I would get out of a beret versus just a standard hat. I think I would get more wear out of the standard hat, but the beret would be much more fun. So leave your opinion down below. What should I do? Should I finish this and gift it? Or should I unravel it and make an Oslo hat? Or should I unravel it and make a fun little beret to wear in Paris to see Stray Kids? Also, leave a comment down below. If you're a stay from Europe, did you get tickets? I hope you did. If you're going to the Stray Kids concert in Paris, tell me, let me know. We can meet up. That would be so fun. I'm super excited. Stray Kids is what got me into K-pop. I'm going off on a tangent, but I'm really excited about this. So Stray Kids is what got me into K-pop, which is what got me into learning Korean, and it had such a huge impact on my life. I don't really listen to their music that much anymore, but I just really wanted to go there for the nostalgia, and again, because it was kind of a butterfly effect and it ended up having such a big impact on my life that I think it would be really fun to kind of go back to where it started and go to a Stray Kids concert. So I'm super excited. It'll be a fun little trip with friends, and it will be after my final exams, so I will never have class again after that, and it'll just be great. I'm super excited, but yeah. That was a tangent. I just had to share my exciting news. What should I do with this yarn? Let me know in the comments down below. I have a tendency towards frogging it. I think my favorite is the beret, but let me know what you think. Any tips, any patterns, other pattern suggestions as well. I have one of each of these, so anything you can make out of one ball, each of merino and mohair, let me know. These were all my whips. As for acquisitions, I don't really have any other acquisitions except for the sock yarn that you just saw. Other than that, I mean, I do have one other acquisition. It's a very large acquisition, and it has something to do with crafting, but I think I'm gonna keep that secret for a little while longer. If you're interested, keep an eye out. It should be in my next, or maybe the video after that. I'm super excited. I hope you're excited as well. It will definitely show up on this channel, probably quite a bit in the next year. So that's all for my acquisitions. And as for media, what have I been watching? Let me think about it. As for media, I have been watching Hallmark movies. It is that time of the year again. So I've just been watching Christmas and, you know, holiday movies on Netflix. I just watched the one with the actor who plays Ezra. I forgot the name. I think something like Our Little Secret. It was not great. It's with Lindsay Lohan and the dude who plays Ezra in Pretty Little Liars. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite Hallmark movie, but worth a watch, I guess. And then I also watched that other new Netflix Hallmark movie with the snowman who becomes a human being. That was fun. I like the premise. It's terrible acting. It's terrible, like the idea is also kind of bad, but it's really funny. So that as well. It's kind of fun to just, if you don't want to watch anything that's super deep, just a little bit of fun Christmas vibes, you can give that one a watch as well. And then other than Hallmark movies, I've been watching sad and depressing documentaries. You know, you gotta have a balance. So yeah, other than that, I've just been watching a bunch of documentaries on YouTube. I was just scrolling through YouTube and everything was the same and nothing interested me. So one evening I decided to just watch a documentary and be like a bit more grown up, do something for my education, for my Allgemeinwissen, because I really suck at that. And I decided to watch a documentary. So what I've been watching is a lot of like Gen Z, like documentaries about Gen Z, like about job search and like the terrible job market, the terrible economy, social media, loneliness, all those depressing topics. And then I also watched a few other ones. I really liked one that I watched about a French psychiatrist made by Arte, which is a German and French collaborative TV channel. It's a channel. And that one was really interesting. So yeah, doing something for Christmas vibes and pure fun entertainment, and also something for my education, you know, just a little bit of everything. That's it for today. I think I talked enough about what I've been up to. I hope you had fun. Let me know in the comments what you're working on down below. Again, let me know what I should do with the red yarn. I really can't decide. So thanks for spending time with me. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like and maybe consider subscribing. And I will see you again very soon. Bye! I am freezing cold. This is really cute, but I think I finished it too late because at this point in the year, it's just too freezing to wear this over just a top. I'm so incredibly cold. I'm literally shivering, and I'm sitting at home in my apartment.